Lisa, a 9-year-old girl, lived in a small mountainous village with her uncle Hoang and her brother Elsie. Having lost her mother at a very young age, Lisa grew up under the care and love of her uncle and brother. Yet, the longing for her father, Mr. HNG, always burned deep in her heart. Mr. HNG had left the village years ago to find work, but since then, there had been no news of him. Lisa always dreamed of the day she could reunite with her father and ask why he had left point one day. Lisa overheard her uncle talking to her brother about the possibility that her father might be in a large town far from their village. These words ignited a spark of hope in her heart. After many restless nights, Lisa made up her mind to set out on a journey to find her father. Fueled by an unshakable belief, despite knowing how dangerous the journey would be, early one morning, Lisa quietly left her small home while her uncle and brother were still asleep. In her old backpack, she carried only a few pieces of clothing and her father's old handkerchief, a treasured keepsake. With no food and no map, she began her trek, crossing the familiar hills and mountains she had played in as a child. But this time, her goal wasn't childlike games, it was to find the father she missed so deeply. The path from the village to the main road was fraught with challenges. Steep slopes, narrow trails through dense forests, and the hot sun left Lisa scratched and exhausted. She rested under large trees whenever she felt too weak to continue, her stomach growling with hunger. Even so, the image of her father spurred her onward. After 2 days of trekking through the hills, Lisa finally reached the main road leading to the town. To her, it was an entirely new world. The sound of passing vehicles frightened her, but she bravely continued walking along the roadside, hoping for some trace of her father. However, as she walked further, Lisa began to grow weary and lost her sense of direction. While trying to navigate a narrow path, she ended up straying into a small forest near the road. The dense and dark forest terrified Lisa. She called out her father's name loudly, but only her own voice echoed back. Unsure of what else to do, Lisa decided to keep walking in hopes of finding a way out. After hours of wandering, tired and drained, Lisa stumbled upon an abandoned house deep in the forest. The house seemed to have been deserted for years, with holes in the roof and broken windows. But to Lisa, it was the safest shelter she could find at that moment. She stepped inside, cleared a small corner, and spread out her clothes to make a place to sleep each morning. Lisa would leave the house to forage for food among the plants in the forest. And every evening she would sit by the broken window, gazing at the starry sky, imagining the moment she would finally meet her father. Her unwavering faith in her family's love kept her strong, helping her overcome fear, loneliness, and the hardships of her journey. The first few days in the abandoned house were the toughest for Lisa. With no food and only a few clothes in her backpack, she had to search the forest for edible plants to survive. After a few days of exploring, Lisa discovered wild ferns growing near her shelter. Remembering her Uncle Hoang mentioning that ferns were edible and could be sold, she decided to harvest them. Every morning, Lisa woke up early. The work wasn't easy. Sharp leaves often cut her hands, and her bare feet were scratched by thorny bushes. Despite the hardships, she persevered. By noon, she would take the harvested ferns to the main road, where she met local vendors who would buy them to sell at the town market. Though the money she earned was meager, it was enough for Lisa to buy instant noodles to sustain herself. Her first meals were nothing more than dry instant noodles or noodles boiled with water from a nearby stream. These meals were simple and sparse, but they filled her with pride and hope because she had earned them herself. Each pack of noodles kept her going and strengthened her resolve to continue her mission. After some time, Lisa realized that selling ferns alone wasn't enough. During one of her ventures deeper into the forest, she discovered bushes full of ripe wild berries. Remembering that these berries were more valuable than ferns, Lisa began splitting her time, harvesting ferns in the morning and picking berries in the afternoon. Gathering berries was no easier than collecting ferns. The bushes were dense and thorny, and Lisa's hands were often pricked, causing small cuts. Once, she stumbled into a thorny bush and hurt her hands badly, but she quickly wrapped her wounds with her father's old handkerchief and pressed on. On hot, sunny days, sweat drenched her small frame, but thoughts of earning enough money to find her father kept her motivated. The money from selling berries was noticeably better than from selling ferns. Lisa was able to save up a small amount after covering her basic needs, like buying instant noodles and small necessities. One day, while selling her berries at the market, she saw a man selling puppies on the roadside. One small puppy with fluffy brown fur and big, innocent eyes immediately caught her attention. Lisa used most of her hard-earned savings to buy the puppy. She named him Imidi. From that day on, life in the abandoned house felt a little less lonely. Imidi became her loyal companion, following her everywhere, from harvesting ferns to picking berries. At night, Imidi stayed by her side, providing warmth and guarding her against the dangers of the forest. With Imidi by her side, Lisa continued her daily work of collecting ferns and berries to sell. The money she earned was carefully saved in a small box hidden under the floorboards of the abandoned house. Watching her savings grow little by little, Lisa felt a renewed sense of hope that she would soon have enough money to continue her journey to reunite with her father. Amity came into Lisa's life at the moment she felt the loneliest. In the early days of living alone in the abandoned house, Lisa often cried when thinking about her family, and was frightened by the strange sounds in the forest. But since Amity appeared, the presence of the small dog brought Lisa a sense of safety and warmth. Lisa saw Amity not only as a friend but also as her family. She took care of Amity with all her heart, despite the hardships both of them were facing. Every time Lisa earned some money from selling herbs or fruit, she would always set aside some to buy food for Amity. There were days when she didn't earn anything, yet she would share her last pack of noodles with Amity, even though her own stomach was growling with hunger. Amity was not only a source of emotional comfort but also a loyal companion. The dog followed Lisa everywhere, whether she was picking ferns or gathering berries. Sometimes Amity would bark to scare away wild animals. At night, Amity curled up beside Lisa, keeping her warm during the cold nights. When Lisa felt sad and sat by the window, Amity would jump up and lick her face, as if saying, "You're not alone. I'm here with you." The love for Father HNG. Although Lisa had not seen her father HNG for many years, her love for him and the hope of reuniting with him were always the biggest motivations, driving her forward. In Lisa's eyes, HNG was an amazing father, the one she always longed to meet again and ask, "Where did you go? Why didn't you come back to me?" The image of her father always lingered in Lisa's mind, especially through the old handkerchief she carried with her on her journey. It wasn't just a keepsake but also a symbol of the deep affection she held for her father. Whenever she felt exhausted or hopeless, Lisa would hold the handkerchief tightly, reminding herself that she had to be strong in order to find her father. On many nights in the abandoned house, Lisa would gaze at the starry sky and imagine the moment she would finally reunite with her father. She dreamed of running to him, hugging him tightly, telling him about all the challenges she had faced, and asking him if he missed her as much as she missed him. The connection between love and hope. Lisa's love for Amity and her father HNG has a unique connection. Amity embodies warmth, helping Lisa overcome the lonely and deprived days. Meanwhile, her love for her father is the light that guides her, motivating her to continue her journey toward reuniting with her family. Whenever she watches Amity play, Lisa thinks about the day when all three of them, her, Amity, and her father, will be together, living happily in a home full of laughter. It is this pure and powerful love that has turned Lisa into a symbol of resilience and limitless love, inspiring many people through her story. Lisa continued her journey to find her father, but after many days walking on the busy road, she felt utterly exhausted. Her steps grew heavier, and the scorching midday sun made it impossible for her to go any further. Despite her best efforts, her small body could no longer bear the strain. Eventually, Lisa found a shaded spot under a tree and sat down. She sighed deeply, fatigued, and closed her eyes, soon falling asleep. As she slept, she murmured a few words, as though still searching for her father in her dreams. Meanwhile, Teacher Hawaii, a kind and gentle woman, was driving along the same road when she saw a small girl sleeping under the tree. She immediately stopped, feeling concerned. She got out of her car, walked over, and noticed that Lisa looked very tired. Teacher Hawaii gently called out, "Sweetheart, are you okay?" Lisa startled awake, seeing Teacher Hawaii's concerned and kind eyes. She looked around, then replied shyly, "I'm okay. Just tired." Teacher Hawaii sat down beside her and asked softly, "Where are you going? Why are you sitting here alone?" Lisa lowered her head, too shy to meet her eyes. She hesitantly told her story about her long journey to find her father, but not knowing where to go and having no one to help her. Teacher Hawaii listened to Lisa's story with sympathy, feeling her heart ache. She knew that for a young girl like Lisa, this journey would not be easy, and she couldn't let her continue alone. "Would you like to come with me? I can help you," Teacher Hawaii said kindly but firmly. "We can find a way together." Lisa lifted her head, her eyes filled with hope. She nodded. Teacher Hawaii helped Lisa into a car and they began talking. During the drive, Teacher Hawaii shared stories with Lisa about the good things she had learned in life and reassured her that nothing was impossible if we have faith and the help of others. When they arrived, Teacher Hawaii didn't take Lisa back to the school as she had originally planned, but instead brought her to her own home. Teacher Hawaii's house was a small, cozy cottage on the outskirts of the city, with a lush garden and a warm, welcoming atmosphere. She wanted to give Lisa a comfortable place to rest and also learn more about her situation. Teacher Hawaii prepared a light meal and the two of them sat down to chat. Lisa continued to share her journey of searching for her father, the challenges she had faced, and the loneliness and worries she had felt along the way. Teacher Hawaii listened carefully, encouraging Lisa and assuring her that no matter how difficult things seemed, there were always people willing to
Teacher Hoi looked at Lisa with loving eyes, but she understood that she couldn't keep her forever. It's right to search for your father, but remember, no matter where you go, I will always be here and ready to help you whenever you need. Lisa thanked Teacher Hoi, packed her small bag, and prepared to continue her journey. Teacher Hoi saw her off at the gate, giving her a backpack with a few clothes and some food. After leaving Teacher Hoi's house, Lisa resumed her journey to find her father. She walked through familiar roads and small villages, hoping that this time she would find a clue about him. But one late afternoon, while passing through a small town, Lisa unexpectedly spotted a man she immediately recognized, her father, Mr. Huang. Lisa rushed forward, calling out, "Dad, Dad!" But when Mr. Huang turned around and saw her, his face showed not joy, but fear and surprise. Before he could react, a group of police officers appeared and arrested him, right in front of Lisa. "You're a suspect in a case. We have to take you to the station for questioning," one of the officers shouted. Lisa was stunned, unable to believe her eyes. "Dad, you didn't do anything wrong," she shouted, running toward him. But an officer stopped her. As Mr. Huang was taken away, Lisa could only catch a glimpse of his desperate expression. Lisa didn't know what to do. She sat on the ground, tears streaming down her face. But then, a strong will rose within her. She couldn't let her father be wrongfully imprisoned. She decided to do something to help him. The next few days, Lisa wandered around the town, looking for any opportunity to help her father. She had no money, no one to turn to except herself. Lisa started picking up trash from the streets, collecting bottles, papers, and anything that could be sold. She took the items to the market and sold them for whatever she could get. Her small hands were covered in dirt, but she never gave up. Every penny she earned was used to buy bread, which she intended to bring to her father at the police station. One morning, after selling everything she had collected, Lisa went to the station with a loaf of bread in her hands. She closed her eyes and silently prayed for her father's release. When she reached the gate of the station, Lisa tried to peek through the bars, hoping to see him. She couldn't speak to anyone, but she patiently waited outside. In the end, Lisa's difficult journey came to an end, though she had faced many trials and hardships. With courage and determination, she had helped her father escape wrongful imprisonment. Lisa realized that no matter how tough life could be, as long as there is love and persistence, anything can be overcome.